A VPN, short for Virtual Private Network, is a privacy protection tool that is quickly becoming a must-have. But why do you need a VPN, and how does it work in the first place? A VPN helps your data travel through the internet safely, without big companies or cybercriminals being able to spy on your online activities. Also, a VPN swaps the real location of your device with a new one. This way, you can virtually travel to any country around the globe. So, who can benefit from a VPN? If you're worried about your online privacy, a VPN makes sure your identity and private information are not exposed when you go online. If digital security is your top priority, a VPN gives a nice additional layer of security. It encrypts your data so nobody could see what you send and receive. If you are a human rights activist whose freedom of speech is restricted, a VPN helps you to bypass censorship and speak to the world. Or, if you're on holiday in another country, with a VPN, you can bring your home entertainment anywhere you go. Here's a pro tip: check out Surfshark VPN. It has everything you need in a premium VPN, awesome speeds, and industry-leading protection that covers all of your devices. All you have to do is click connect. Secure your digital life and enjoy everything good that the internet has to offer with a VPN you can trust.
Click link in the description and get 81% discount for your first order. Masking off the area. Cut or tie back any vegetation that is making contact with the fence. Mow and edge the grass along the fence line. Trim back bushes and shrubs that touch the fence. If you don't want to trim them, use twine to tie them away from fence. Pulling vegetation away from the fence gives you space to work, protects the plants from being covered by paint, and reduces the risk of your newly painted surface being blemished by plants rubbing against it. Be sure to look for any vines that might be growing along the fence as well. You can use a leaf blower to blow dirt and grass clippings away from the fence line. Mask off plants around the fence. You want to protect the vegetation along the fence line while readying the surface for painting. Put plastic sheeting or a drop cloth over plants that might accidentally get paint on them. Just be careful to make sure that the plant can handle the weight of whatever masking you use. You can also slide a sheet of plywood between your fence and shrubs. This protects the vegetation from paint toxins. When the surface has dried, pull out the plywood and the shrub will likely snap back naturally. Spread a drop cloth or plastic sheeting under the fence. This will protect the ground from being covered in drips or sprays of paint. Keep it in place throughout the project so it will collect residue from prep work and protect against spills. You can use either a cloth or plastic drop cloth for this job. Repairing and masking off the fence. Make repairs to the fence. If you are going to take the time to paint a fence, it's a good idea to get the fence in good shape before you do it. Replace any boards or rails that are broken beyond repair. If there are small cracks in wood boards, you can use wood glue to repair them. Also remove and then replace any loose nails, screws, or bolts. If you are painting a metal fence, consider having any broken areas re-welded or refabricated before painting. Pressure wash or sand a wood fence. New, untreated fences can be either pressure washed or sanded. It's best to sand a wood fence that was painted before in order to remove any old, loose paint. This helps the new paint adhere to the wood. If the fence has already been painted, pressure wash it first to remove any dirt, grease, or debris from the surface. Then, sand the fence to remove any wood splints. You may also want to use a scraper to remove any peeling paint from the surface of the fence. Do this before you wash and sand it. If you are sanding a previously painted fence, it's important to wear breathing protection while you work. Let the surface dry completely after pressure washing or scrubbing the fence before painting. Remove loose paint and rust from a metal fence. If you're painting iron or metal fencing, use a steel brush to remove light areas of rust and loose paint. If there are areas that are extremely rusty, you can use navel jelly to dissolve the rust. Then sand the entire surface with medium grit sandpaper. After sanding, wipe off residue with a clean rag. It's important to wear breathing protection while sanding your metal fence. Pick a face mask that can protect you from the dust you are creating. Tape off parts of the fence you don't want to paint. Use painter's tape to keep paint off of any areas that shouldn't be painted. This typically includes things like ornaments, gate latches, and handles, and other hardware. There is painter's tape that is made specifically for outdoor applications. It will stick better to parts of your fence than the type that is made to be used indoors. Painting a wood fence. Pick the right paint for your wood fence. When painting a fence, you need to use outdoor paint. These are specially treated to withstand the effects of weather and come in a variety of types. Acrylics. Acrylic paint is durable, providing an excellent layer of protection for your fence, but you might have to apply a primer to an untreated surface before you can paint. Oil-based outdoor paint. Oil-based paints may require multiple coats and may not protect as well as acrylics, but they do provide a superior-looking finish. Choose to use a brush roller or sprayer, or a combination of all three. What you choose typically depends on how much fence you need to paint. However, you should also consider what type of paint you're using and how detailed the work will be. For example, some paints are formulated to be used with either brushes or sprayers and state so on their labels. Use a sprayer for a long fence or a fence with lots of cutouts or spots that will be hard for a brush to get into. If you have a long fence, you probably will want to use a sprayer because it will allow you to complete the job quickly. A sprayer is also good at getting into every crevice, so use one if your fence has detailed scrolling work. If you have a smaller project, such as a short section of fence, you probably can complete the job using a roller on flat surfaces and a brush for detailed inside sections. Pick a suitable day to do the painting. Certain weather conditions are ideal for fence painting. Pick a day with no rain in the forecast. Also, try to paint on a day with calm winds and ample cloud cover. Breezes can kick up debris that can stick to your paint job. Direct sunlight makes the paint dry too fast and saps its protective properties. Apply paint with the grain of the wood. If using a roller, roll it with the grain of the wood rather than across it. Brush strokes should also go with the grain to ensure that every crevice in the wood is coated. Even if spraying, you should move the sprayer in the direction of the wood grain to get into all areas of the wood. Going with the grain also helps prevent drips, as excess paint doesn't build up on the ridges of the wood as much. While it might not be possible to go with the grain for every single stroke, it's a good idea to do it as much as possible. Keep a brush handy to clean up drips. Even if you opt for a sprayer or a roller, it's important to keep a brush in arm's reach. This will allow you to do any touch-up work that needs to be done right away. Painting a metal fence. Choose a type of paint that will adhere to metal. There are certain paints that are specially formulated to stick to metal, and it's important that you choose one that works with metal outside. Paints that work well for metal fences include enamels. Enamel paint is ideal for iron fencing and gates. Usually, you'll need to treat the surface with a rust-inhibiting primer. Automotive epoxy paint. The benefits of automotive epoxy are it's a one-step process and is very durable. You will have to mix in a hardener with this paint, which does force you to get the job done within about 6 hours. Choose to use a brush or sprayer. Because they are often intricately designed, you can paint small iron fences by hand, but large areas may require spraying to get optimum coverage. A single heavy coat of enamel or automotive epoxy paint sprayed on usually is enough to create a strong finish. If you want to spray the paint on, you need to decide between using a paint sprayer or cans of spray paint. Spray paint is only really appropriate for painting small fences. If you use brushes, be sure to use brushes that are compatible with your type of paint. For instance, if you are using enamel paint, look for brushes that say they can be used with enamel paint. In general, it's hard to paint a metal fence with a roller because there are few large, flat surfaces. The exception is chain link fence, because you can run the roller along the surface of the fence and paint it very quickly and thoroughly. Pick a dry, temperate day to do the painting. It's important to look at the forecast before you start painting because a bit of rain or scorching hot temperatures can both negatively impact your paint job. Aim for a day that will not have rain but has overcast skies, as this will allow your paint to dry at the correct pace. Apply a primer. Most paints that are made for painting metal work best when applied over a rust-resistant primer. Choose a primer that comes in a spray can be sprayed with a sprayer, or that can be brushed or rolled on, whichever method you prefer. As you apply the primer, be sure that you cover every surface of the fence. Allow the primer to dry completely before applying the paint. Look at the information on your primer's container. Apply the paint to your metal fence. Start at one end of the fence and work your way down it. Make sure to paint every surface as you go and clean up any drips that happen right away. If using a sprayer or spray can, spray downwind and wear a respirator. Keep a brush handy to clean up drips. Even if you opt for a sprayer or a roller, it's important to keep a brush in arm's reach. This will allow you to do any touch-up work that needs to be done right away.